I really appreciate this, Chris.
Oh man, I don't mind doing it at all. I think it's an important discussion. So, all right. Hey everybody, it's Chris with Arch-USA. Go to the website as always here on YouTube, like, share, subscribe. And I do these interviews and I don't do them often enough, especially with things that are extremely important. And I, a lot of the times in entrepreneurship, you get a lot of these channels and a lot of these discussions, and they never talk about the reality of being an entrepreneur or starting a business. And there's a lot of dark times that can occur in the process of launching a business. And I don't want to gloss over it. And the perfect person to speak to is David Jenkins. And David Jenkins is the CEO of Marie Ernst. And that's a company that's basically kind of revolutionized skincare with these patented customizable bar soaps. And with companies like Jolie with the water filters, all of these different brands that are out here, here is a man who's entering the beauty and basically the health and holistic health product market. And that's a very difficult thing to do. And when you add that he's a black man, which most of the time I don't even like bringing up the fact that we're black or we're white and all these other things, but there's a reality to it where we face headwinds when trying to raise money. But David founded Marie Ernst in 2014, and he had this goal of kind of developing a two-in-one customizable bar soap to provide consumers with a way to bathe while also embracing a socially conscious business model. It's a fantastic concept that he came up with, and he's actually got this back exfoliating tool that's incredible. And you have to see all of these different things that he's done, but still with a product that's needed. And you have a lot of people that are making soaps, and it's become kind of a trendy thing to do, but nobody's really developing tools to help improve the way we bathe. And I know that sounds like some kind of weird thing, but a little bit more of a background. 21 years, he served as a senior account executive at Intercom Radio. So his responsibility was basically doing, service to the clients by utilizing on-air, online, digital, and streaming ad campaigns to achieve these different results. Now, that has helped him in his business, but not enough. So I'm like, I want people to know what he's doing, in particular because David represents a unique set of, it's not a unique, I take that back. I'm not going to say it's unique. He represents exactly what happens to everyone who decides to start a business. And people don't talk about the mental health aspect. So that's what this discussion is going to be about. And right now, he's doing a GoFundMe. So if you go down to the description, there'll be a link in the description for you to go and check out the GoFundMe. I almost think it should have been more of a WeFunder, because if he offered people shares of this company, when it clicks and takes off, you could potentially be a part of something that'll be a multi-million-dollar business, because the concept is fantastic. It could possibly be utilized by bigger soap brands, which means that there's a licensing opportunity. And I know I'm getting way ahead, David. I apologize, and I'm probably jumping into other stuff. But the real big issue that I want to discuss is something that affected me and that affects everyone who's deciding to become an entrepreneur, create a startup, or launch a business. David, I thank you for taking your time to come on and talk with us. And I don't want to kind of shape the conversation. I want to stay in a wheelhouse, but I love for you to talk about your background. But what I want you to really dive into, if you can give me the three most difficult aspects of launching your business, that would be a great way to start. Dang, that was a long introduction. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, no. Thank you, Christopher. I really appreciate that introduction. That was very kind of you. And I really appreciate this opportunity to have this discussion, and hopefully we can reach people on a wider level that are entrepreneurs that maybe keep their mental health condition hidden. I want other people to know that it's okay to come forward. It's not embarrassing. And it's something that you can't overcome alone. I've tried. I've tried. And you get to a point where nothing works. And then you realize, I have to reach out. This is not going to work. And my life has never been like this.
We were talking a little bit earlier, and I brought up a TV show, Johnson's. Johnson is a show about 4 Black friends that grew up together. All 4 of the friends don't work traditional jobs. They are all entrepreneurs. Some are a little bit lost in navigating life. But in particular, there's a character on there, Omar, who has to take anger management classes. But he also is trying to launch a startup. And I'm bringing up that show because, one, Black entrepreneurs, white entrepreneurs, brown entrepreneurs, everybody deals with these issues that we kind of mask. And he's launching a startup, and he's right in the stage of getting funded with, I think, $1 million or something like that. But it's going to be a huge funding round for the company. The people that are backing find out that he has anger management issues, and they pull the funding, and he spirals. Now he's got these 4 friends who do an intervention, and they jump in, and all of these guys are entrepreneurs, but they jump in and they all decide to do a form of group therapy. That's something taboo in the Black community, specifically in the business world, where we have to look like we're better and smarter and stronger than anyone else. So the fact that you are verbally telling people, hey, I had to overcome a really big issue, and I want to talk about it. And I'm not talking about it so you will support me. I'm talking about it because if I don't talk about it, it could happen to you. So were you depressed, or were you first, the name of the company, what exactly it does, because I did explain it, the name of the company, what exactly it does, and then 3 things that you found that kind of led to where you are. And I asked that a little bit earlier, but
3 things. And
yeah,
and you keep
but
me on
name of the
point.
company, name of the company.
It's Marie Ernst.
Yeah, yep.
So my parents, I'm number 9 of 10 kids. Grew up Catholic, very, very close-knit family in an all-white neighborhood in Portland, Oregon. I love my parents dearly, and my mother's name is Mary, and my father's name is Ernest. And for all the wonderful things that they taught us, keeping 10 Black kids out of jail and going on to have successful careers, I wanted to dedicate my business to them. And I've always liked Marie. I've always liked luxury soaps. And I've always liked French soaps. And so I'm like, oh, I don't know if I want to put them that much out there. So I'm going to hide their identity just a little bit. So I changed it to Marie Ernst. It's my mother and my father, who are different, but when combined together, they make a complete whole unit. And that was the whole premise. And I'm an Aquarius, so the Trinity is I'm their sun, and that's the water sign.
So what people don't know, because I mean, we're in real time talking here, so I can go back and edit this and drop pictures in. The joining together of those parents. Do you have the product so you can hold it up and show us what one of those products looks like? Because
yeah. This is an old one. We're making a new one, new design and everything. I have half of a bar here. Sorry.
Yeah.
But this is half of a bar. This is what the product looks like. This is the old product, but technically I would have 2 bars here one goes on top of the other. You get them wet, they don't come apart. One side was typically used for exfoliation because when you clean your body, you have to really exfoliate your skin in order for any topical that you want to put on afterwards to be really, really effective. It's not like you would come home from work and then put on more makeup,
Right.
you know, or you finish working out in the gym and then you just go and apply acne cream. So in order for products to work better, which I don't think the cosmetic industry is looking at, you got to fix the underlying problem.
There
And the
haven't been
underlying
any
problem is our skin.
there haven't been any real advancements in soap technology.
No, not really.
Not at all. And
Just
I don't
different
think I've
ingredients.
seen. Go ahead. What'd you say?
Not really, just different ingredients.
Different
And a
ingredients.
lot of companies, body wash is a lot cheaper. But I mean, I don't want to really get deep down into that.
Well, I
But
can.
the company, pardon?
I can get deep into that. Body washes are bad because they come in plastic containers.
Right, right.
So you can say that outright. And I think because a lot of the people watching this probably don't think about that aspect of it, but sustainability, being an eco-friendly company, getting body washes is not good for the environment.
No.
Even if they're using PET,
No.
it's still going to introduce
No.
those nanoparticles, those microplastics into the environment. So what you're doing here, you have a modular soap. One
Yes.
side exfoliating, one side kind of what is it?
It's the moisturizing. Yes.
That is, you need an athlete. And I know we're off topic already. I was like, give me three things.
We're off
Now we're
topic.
off topic. You need an
Yes.
athlete because my daughter, she's, in the 10th grade, high school, and she runs. And because she's an athlete, she sweats a lot. So she has different issues with her skin. So we finally found a mix of different products that she can use. But one of it is in some households, people are not able to afford the different blends of these high cost products. But a soap that both exfoliates and, lotion in a sense would be revolutionary for a lot of houses that can't afford to buy a lot of product.
Exactly. It's supposed to simplify your bathing. And you have the exfoliating bars, but you also have the other bars that what I'm trying to do is attack skincare problems, eczema, psoriasis, acne. Those are what I'm trying to tackle with the new bars and the new formulations and everything.
So go ahead. Sorry.
What was the second question that
you know what? I'm moving away from that. And I got a different question to ask,
okay.
which has to do with the difficulties that you're facing. So right now, like you're doing a GoFundMe, and it's rooted in the discussion on mental health as an entrepreneur.
Yes.
First off, how did you come into, let's go back a little bit. So I'm changing those three questions. Let's go back. Did you make a decision to become an entrepreneur, or is this something that you like, well, you know what, I'm going to retire and I'm going to get away from this business and I'm going to start this new business? Did you make a decision to become an entrepreneur?
No. I had this idea while I was working in radio. And during that time, it was a difficult time for me. We had a brand new GM and we were at odds. My performance was fine. 115% of my budget. When I got fired, it was weird. It was March 17th, 2013, my dad's birthday. So St. Patrick's Day.
Wow.
I go into work and there's papers, and for somebody that had been here 21 years, I was literally walked to my desk and escorted out. I didn't get to say goodbye to anybody. People that I work with for years.
So you didn't make the decision to become an entrepreneur?
No, I didn't. But that is what facilitated. I didn't even understand unemployment. So I had to get unemployment calling me. They're saying, hey, aren't you going to file? It's been 3 months. I'm like, I didn't even know I had to. So I didn't know anything about any of this stuff. And when I was started going on interviews, I was physically getting sick because I had been in the industry and I didn't know what I wanted to do. And you're going on interviews and you're interviewing people that you used to work with that you maybe didn't get along with. And you're like, I'm going to go work for this guy again, that didn't treat me very well as a boss.
This is
I don't think you can last 21 years selling advertising if you aren't doing your job.
no, there's no
You
way.
have to hit your budgets. I had a $1.5 million budget. I had to hit that. So I was doing my job. It's
So
a it's a different situation when your top brass finds a way to get rid of you to help other employees take those accounts.
it's funny that it's not funny at all. It's
No,
interesting that you bring it up because that's happening so much right now. We're in this era of what's called quiet quitting and quiet firing. It seems as if you were a victim of quiet firing.
I was a problem. I wasn't the problem.
Yeah.
I knew about the problem and they had to protect the problem by getting rid of me.
Now, this is the bad part. You walked into entrepreneurship. I made a decision to become an entrepreneur. I was a college professor and I was like, hey, I'm really good at this. I think I'll stop teaching. I walked into entrepreneurship. Now, I didn't know a lot about what I was walking into, so I didn't understand business. And because of that, I made a ton of mistakes, a ton of mistakes. But those were decisions I personally made. So I was more capable of dealing with those. If you are forced out of a situation and now you're going to rely on a business idea that you had while you were working, it's extremely difficult. And what it sounds like is being moved away from what it is that you have been doing for so long and forced to and now you have to find a different job because once you've been at a company for so long, it makes it really difficult to start somewhere else, especially if it was a termination versus a resignation.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
I would have to assume that the years, because in 2014 you started Marie Ernst and you began to work on it. I'm assuming that you probably worked at a few other places over time, but I'm also recognizing that if you have to rely on this entrepreneurial job, the stress is a lot greater. And you created something. Now I'm thinking about the modular soap. Is that patented?
Yes, it's patented and our accessories are patented. And I mean, that was a lot of hard work. I knew that when this becomes popular, and it will, when it becomes widely accepted, that the larger soap companies would just try to duplicate it, just like they do a lot of other brands. And I didn't want that to happen. So that's where I invested the money instead of trying to just go out there and do growth. I really wanted to protect my ideas to help create a community around this project and to offer generational wealth to help the community. I really want this to go back to the community when I no longer run it. And I think with enough help, we can do that. I kind of really want that to happen.
I think that's admirable. I really
But
think it's admirable.
I think after I got fired, I was still in counseling and I went heavy. I was going once a week. And so I knew I needed help at that point, but it wasn't as severe because my family was still rooting for me and my family was still intact and my dad was still alive. So, I had them to be able to lean on when I had feelings of doubt or when I just wanted to run an idea by somebody. I had a family to do that. And right now I don't. And I don't have a community And before all this happened, my father passed away June 22nd, 2022. But before that happened, my oldest sibling, who was very successful, he had a stroke, a massive stroke. And that upset my mom and my dad. And we're still under COVID. And I'm working as a cashier at this upscale grocery store. So I can't really help anybody.
It's 8 o'clock.
I can't really help anybody. And the family has never dealt with that type of illness. I mean, literally, my mom sends out email. Hey kids, we're celebrating Clyde's birthday. Come on over for cake and ice cream. I mean, the guy's turning 68. I mean, that's kind of the stuff it was.
Yeah.
And we would do that. If you imagine there's 10 kids, there's a lot of those.
Yeah.
I don't have that anymore because the loss of my father somehow broke our family.
And you're dealing with this while attempting to fundraise a startup in an extremely difficult segment.
Yes.
All right. So now I get the reason for the GoFundMe and the reach out. Which is why I brought up the show to Johnson's, the mental health aspect. You're in an extreme entrepreneurial situation. It's unlike my things were financial, and there were mental aspects of it where I think I lost about $500,000, and I ended up bankrupt. And these are the pitfalls. These are the things that nobody talks about. This stuff, man. we veil it. I'll show you that I made $7 million, but I won't tell you that I went bankrupt. I almost lost our house. I won't tell you that I felt like I was less of a man because I couldn't provide. And then I have to go out and smile in people's faces and do speeches and make pitches.
Yep.
And here you are, you're dealing with death, loss in the process of building a company. And that can be, and I don't want to make this melodramatic, but people who are watching this, even if it's 50 people, even if it's 10 people, they need to understand that you're fighting through the process, but you had to come to a point of understanding what the issues were. How did you get to that point of understanding the business, the family, and how are you going to move forward with this?
I came to the understanding approximately around May of 2023. So another situation happened with me. My father passes away June 22nd, 2022. I'm still working as a cashier at an upscale grocery store. I go in every morning, dependable as I am. I open the store. I've done that for the whole time that I'm there. So I open the store. I have to get up at, 5 o'clock in the morning. I go there. This is during Christmas time and it's really busy. And I had a stressful moment at the register where I couldn't communicate properly. So I left. And I asked my boss, I said, I can't deal with this right now. I need to go. I was really going to have a mental breakdown at the register, and I didn't want that to happen. Unfortunately, they didn't like that, and I got terminated a week later. So now, before that, I am not communicating with my family, but at least I go to work and I have a family at work of people that I can talk to on a daily basis. Or, senior day comes around, there's tons of customers that would line up just to come see me. Like, you're our favorite cashier. You're so nice. You're so good at bagging your stuff. Now that's cut off. So now I'm at home, cut off from my family, cut off from work, and I'm isolated. I applied for a grant that was statewide, and I received notice that I was going to be getting the grant. This was in March. It was $10,000. It was very, 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 very helpful. It took me 2 months to deposit the check because I couldn't get out of bed. It's sitting on my nightstand, and I literally just couldn't get out of bed. I felt really no happiness. I felt indifferent. And who leaves a $10,000 check sitting around? And when I was trying to work on the company, doing my day-to-day stuff, I would get foggy and I would want to cry, but the tears don't come. And I'm like, why am I doing this? I feel like I'm torturing myself. But then I'm like, you've invested so much into this, David. You have to stay the course. You have to stay the course. And that's when I said, I really need to get help. And I scheduled an appointment with my doctor. I went in and he diagnosed me on a severe depression. And I was already taking Zoloft for anxiety. And they felt maybe that they should up my dosage. And they did. But it's taken a long time for that to kick in. It's not you take a pill and you're happy. There's the work that you have to do. I went to several different counseling sessions. I'm still looking for a counselor that I resonate with. But thanks to this campaign and reaching out to friends, I've been contacted by a couple of counselors that I want to get back to. But without me doing my GoFundMe campaign, without reaching out, that would have never happened. And I don't want other people to be embarrassed because I was embarrassed.
Yeah.
I'm touting, I have this business. I'm a successful business person. You go to the website. Oh, it looks so great. Everybody thinks, everything's going well. But behind the scenes, I'm the only one that's working on this. And if I don't have the energy, if I don't have the mental health to do it, then the business is going to lag. And that's kind of what happened. I literally, for a couple of months, could barely get out of bed. I had never wished for night to come so much. In the wintertime, I'm dealing with this, and I get out of bed, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. I'm struggling, drinking coffee to try to just jolt me awake.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at the clock and I'm like, I can't wait for 4 o'clock to come and it gets dark and I can take a shower and go to bed. I've lost my appetite.
That's man, I've never been in that state before, so I can't speak towards it. It's I hate to hear that. Really hate to hear that. But the shining kind of beacon in that entire thing that you just said, you generated and earned a $10,000 grant. And you left it sitting on the counter for 2 months because of the depression. But what I hear in that is the value of the company was recognized.
Yes.
That's what I hear. I hear the value of the company was recognized. So here's a grant, and it helps to move things forward. And when you're in a position where you feel a little bit lost, I think it's good to pin the positive, right?
Yes.
So you pin the positive, the grant, the website looks great. The company has value and it's valid. Now you open up the board. So let's say you have a brown cork board and you have the positives at the top. We are not going to put the negative aspects. We understand what the negative aspects are, right? So we open up the board to see where we can go in the process of improving the opportunities, right? So you're going to expand the brand. You understand that you have these financial difficulties and you have these some of the issues that you have to deal with in therapy, but you move forward and you continue to write, discuss, and introduce. So those positives, the things that are open and available to you, are one, actually sitting down, taking the time to build out a three-pronged strategy. Look for investors, use the GoFundMe, connect with endorsers, which that's a three-prong. And under that, though, are a ton of different things that can be done. You have to continue with the therapy because a lot of people, like I said, don't talk about the difficult aspects of starting a business. And you're doing that. I appreciate you for sharing. It was very tough to hear that. And I truly hope that you find a lot more of the assistance that you need to make sure that your mental is in the right space. And I'll default back to the Johnson show. And at the end of that show, these four Black guys sit down and they make a pact to go to therapy. And I thought it was one of the most powerful things that I had ever seen on television because Black folks don't go to therapy. And Black entrepreneurs tend to not have networks of people we can speak to. So we're talking now, and I'm saying I see the positives, grant more financial opportunity that could come from that. I see the opportunities in expansion, finding new investors, finding endorsers, partnership with potential endorsers, going in and using a site like LinkedIn or using YouTube itself to do shorts that show the benefits of the product. There's so many different small things that can be done to offset the negative or the challenging. And because therapy isn't a negative, it's a positive. So the challenging aspects of business. I don't necessarily have a question here as much as I have a request. And that request is for you to tell everyone, when we go to the Marie Ernst website, is the GoFundMe on the homepage?
No, I haven't set that up yet. I'm still working on
Set
doing
that
it.
up.
I am going to set that up. I'm redesigning the whole website right now. So it's taking me a little bit longer.
I would take it and turn it into a splash page. This is me in consulting mode now. Turn it into a splash page with updates coming.
It
But I would
is.
have that GoFundMe front and center with the picture that you have on this GoFundMe campaign with the logo up there in the corner. I think it's a very good picture. I think it looks great. And I think when people discover it or go to the website, they'll be able to see it. I would actually take a holistic approach to Marie Ernst and discuss mental well-being, physical well-being, health and fitness. The holistic side of it is talking to people or creating a blog where you write about the different things that we need to be whole.
Right.
So, like you said, you have a business that's built on connectivity, a modular connectivity of a product that helps people to become, I would say, better looking, but that's not the right thing, but to have better kind of body health.
It's better. Our largest organ is our skin. And what we tend to do with all the social media, TikToks, Instagram, is camouflage. We camouflage our
Makeup.
imperfections.
Yeah.
But what I want to do, I know that people are going to use actives. I know that people are going to use makeup, but I want people to understand that if they spend a little bit more time on their skin, the foundation, the canvas, that when you apply an acne medicine or when you apply something for your eczema or psoriasis, it's going to penetrate deeper and it's going to work better for you.
Yeah.
And it's going to actually save you money in the long run because You're not putting it on top of dead skin cells where there's no penetration, and your skin just kind of stays the same.
Right.
So that's kind of the basics of what I'm trying to do. And it's also based on nobody does anything alone. That's the two pieces. You have two things, yin and yang, that come together. And I discussed yin and yang in one of my interviews that I had, because you have to have different things to make things work. There's nobody out there that's doing anything by themselves.
Nobody.
And I mean, I hear what you're saying. I love all those points about the positives. I don't want to be negative, but we have seen other famous African American celebrities that have a lot of those positives. If I don't get help, everything that you said may come to fruition, but it won't work because I haven't helped myself.
That's true.
And I have to help myself in order to acknowledge the positives. Having severe depression, it kind of is like a block for all of the positives. It blocks because you don't know how to deal with the loneliness, the isolation. So I worked the whole time during COVID.
Yeah.
Essential worker. The lines were long. The people were crazy. I was an essential worker. I didn't understand why people were complaining that they weren't working and they were getting paid at home.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm working. I wish I wasn't a cashier at this time. It's so crazy.
Right.
And now I understand the isolation because I wasn't isolated. And then during that COVID part, then I became isolated from my family, but then I became isolated from my work community and friends. So now I am in the COVID space where people were isolated. I'm isolated. And that's when the severe depression hit. And I remember a lot of people talking about during COVID when people were in the stay at home, a lot of people were depressed.
Yeah.
I get that. We need contact with each other. We need to be honest with each other. We need to be able to trust each other. I would love for people to say, okay, David, you have some mental health issues, but I still trust you as a person.
Yeah.
I still trust your ideas. I still trust your validity. And let's get you some help to get over these mental health issues.
And I think that's a perfect place to get ready to wrap this up. I love the fact that you said that we need to be connected because it joins with the product. And yeah, you're right. It is difficult to pull it off. But I want people to go to the description, click through, check out the GoFundMe because it's working as both fundraiser for the business and support of mental health. And I think both of those things are extremely important. And I really appreciate you for just having this conversation with me. And we're going to get ready to wrap it up. David, thank you. Marie Ernst is the business. David Jenkins is the founder. And mental health is important. Let's focus on it. I'll talk to you a little bit later, man. I appreciate you, brother.
I appreciate you. Thank you for this opportunity to share